there was another piece of news that I wanted to get your reaction to, Kyle. So yesterday, well, this is Thursday, so I'm talking about Wednesday. This will come out a couple days later. Anyway, on Wednesday, the Senate voted to repeal the Iraq War authorizations 20 years after the U.S. invasion. This was both the 2002 authorization for the use of force as well as the 1991 authorization.
So the Gulf War
for
and the
the
Iraq
first
War.
Gulf War.
And you said this is just through the Senate or through the Senate and the House?
This looks like it's just for the Senate just voted
okay, so
on
it
it.
refers to act.
Yeah. So proponents, they say, this is a CBS News article. Proponents said doing so is necessary to prevent future presidents from abusing their power while
Too late for
not
that.
hamstringing current counterterrorism efforts. And so this is what's important to understand is that the Iraq War authorization just really pertained to Iraq. And the broader,
War on terror.
war on terror authorization is what has
Afghanistan.
been used to justify everything else.
And that
right?
was 01.
Yeah,
So
believe
this is 2003 and 1991. That's the ones they're repealing. There was a 2001 authorization for use of military force, not just for Afghanistan, but for terrorists in general, and that expands.
Yes, and that's
well
how
beyond
that's why
Afghanistan.
we're in Syria. That's why we're doing whatever we're doing in Africa. That's Libya. Like everything else we've done has been under that other authorization for the use of military force. So basically, we're at a point where people are like, yeah, we can afford to let this one go, and it doesn't really hamstring our ability to do whatever the hell we want around the world anyway.
And by the way, they don't actually color within the lines where they say, look, it was Al-Qaeda or jihadists who attacked us on 9/11, therefore we only have authorization to go after Al-Qaeda or jihadists. They actually use this in many instances to go after people who are explicitly fighting jihadists and Al-Qaeda. This was what they used when Donald Trump decided, I'm gonna kill General Soleimani, the top Iranian commander. He was on the ground fighting ISIS at the time. But they said, I don't know, close enough. Terrorism, we don't care if you're Sunni, if you're a jihadist, if you're part of a Shia Iranian militia. Close enough. We're just going to use it to attack you. So
It's
basically,
been a blank check.
It's a blank check, and it's green light to attack anybody, anywhere we want for any reason whatsoever.
Right, exactly right. It's also, there's some details here that are kind of interesting and telling. The Senate rejected a few amendments before voting for final passage. So Senator Rand Paul actually had an amendment to repeal that 2001 authorization for the use of military force that targeted those responsible for the September 11th attacks, which, as Kyle just explained, has been used to do whatever we want, wherever we want, which still, they say, forms the legal basis for many U.S. counterterror efforts. That was, of course, voted down because it would have actually done something.
We don't have the numbers, by the way, but I bet it was like only a handful of people who voted the right way on it.
Yeah, I would like to know.
It would be like Rand Paul,
was.
Bernie Sanders, maybe one or two other Democrats, maybe one other Republican like a Mike Lee or something. Maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. We also had an amendment from Senator Lindsey Graham to...
Oh, boy. What's going on here?
To make things considerably worse. He wanted to have a new authorization of force against Iranian-backed militias operating in Iraq. They said the ability to target those proxies in Iraq was a driving issue for Republicans who opposed repealing the authorizations, concerns that were underscored by attacks on U.S. bases in Syria. So in
other words, here, let me sum up what he's saying.
Ahead.
In other words, he's saying, yeah, we're done going after Al-Qaeda and jihadists. Let's go after the Iranian Shia militias now. And by the way, just so you understand, they don't do terror attacks against us. The Iranian Shia militias don't do terror attacks against the United States. That's not a thing. There aren't Shia jihadists are not a thing. The jihadists are all the Sunni fundamentalists, the Wahhabists, the Salafists. So for him, that's such an admission. Just saying that, like, let's focus our effort on people who are even less of a threat to us here at home.
Yes. There was also an amendment from Marco Rubio that would have halted the 2002 repeal until the Biden administration certified that Iran has stopped supporting terrorist organizations and violent groups in Iraq and Syria. So same type of thing. So basically, I mean, look, I'm glad they're repealed. That's, I guess some sort of minor potential symbolic step forward. But the AUMF that's actually used to justify everything under the sun since the Bush administration is still firmly in place.
The fact of the matter is, this changes absolutely nothing because we still have troops in Iraq. And they're keeping them there under the guise of the 2001 authorization for use of military force, which was originally for Afghanistan.
We have 900 troops in Syria, which no one ever voted for.
That's right.
And, just had and hundreds more contractors there who are on the ground.
And Trump admitted It's for the oil. We're going to take their oil.
Right. And one of those contractors was just killed. And so Biden launched strikes in Syria again under this AUMF. So they truly use it as blank check to do whatever they want, wherever they want.
And then you wonder why the world order is like shifting right in front of us, where you have all these countries now forming an economic alliance with China. You have Iran, China, Russia, now Brazil. There's talk about Brazil is going to do some sort of free trade agreements with China. Everybody's joining the BRICS payment system. And they're trying to get off the US dollar. And you wonder why. This is one of the main reasons why, right? Is that we've always viewed ourselves, ever since we've become the world's sole superpower, we're above the law.
Right.
International law doesn't apply to us.
We're
we don't
lawless.
care about the International Criminal Court.
Well,
right? And so if you don't abide by your own rules, but you enforce them rigidly for everybody else, at some point people are going to say, piss off.
Yeah. This gets thrown back in our face by, Russia, which two wrongs don't make a right. But they throw the Iraq war invasion in our face every minute.
Yeah.
All of our lawless international behavior. And we're like, oh, you're the ones who are going to come and moralize here about democracy and the rule of law. Come on, get out of here.
And like you said, they use that to sort of excuse their crimes. But the actual correct position is we shouldn't have done the crimes and you shouldn't do the crimes now.
You also should not do the crimes.
Right, exactly.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.